There are a few areas of the crypto space more poised for success than the integration between AI and the blockchain. In this video, we're going to look at 5 AI crypto projects, assessing their pros as well as their cons, and identify the potentially insane gains that they are all offering during this next bull market. Hit the like button and let's dive into this video. Now, earlier on this year, we saw an explosion in traditional AI stocks with the likes of Nvidia and others moving aggressively towards the upside. This saw a knock-on effect in cryptocurrency. However, we have now started to see many of these cryptocurrencies returning to lower levels as a load of uncertainty develops across the crypto space. This is prime time for accumulation and it's what the big money's doing. So why not join the big money if we want to be able to see some great returns? And we should be grateful for lower prices for longer. I've looked across these projects and I've identified a few key metrics we must be paying attention to when we're studying new projects. First of all, we want to take a look at the team. We want to identify the technology, whether it's a unique piece of technology, has different code from anything else out there. We then want to go on to the use case. Does it have an excellent route to market? Is it going to be something that's easily adopted by the wider community outside of crypto? What's the roadmap looking like? Is there an exciting future ahead of us? And what is the community like? Is there a bunch of passionate people following the project who are hanging on every word from the developers? Well, after careful selection, I have come across a few projects, some of which you may not have heard of. The first one we're going to look at is Deep Brain Chain, which is a decentralized neural network computing program built on the blockchain. This is a very interesting and exciting project for a number of different reasons. It was established back in July of 2017, so it's already been around the block a little bit, but is still relatively unheard of by the wider crypto community. It basically works by encrypting data that's traditionally been used in the cloud computing systems, and in fact is 70% cheaper than the traditional cloud computing services that are offered by the likes of Google and Amazon. It encrypts data privacy, which is obviously essential, and if you've heard of coins like Jasmy and things like that, then you'll understand the importance of what I'm talking about here with regards to privacy tokens. Now, I've swayed towards this as a token over the likes of Jasmy more because of some issues in the transparency behind the Jasmy team and things like that. They have a very highly recognized team as well as advisory board within the AI community, which is something extremely positive, and they have huge ambitions for the future, hoping to become the world's largest AI computing network. If this was to happen, they would see some insane growth, particularly given the size of the market cap, which we'll step onto in just a moment. There's been some slight concerns in the delays over the roadmap, as well as a bit too much in terms of centralization and a small developer base. So these are things we must pay attention to given this current crypto environment. But the thing that has me very excited is that currently the market cap sits around at $10 million. And in fact, it's up around 16% today. We're starting to see a bit of growth coming into these coins after an accumulation phase. And this is looking at Deep Brain Chain over the past few years, and you can see after this initial launch, which happened pretty much at the peak of the last bull market, you can see it's been in accumulation phase. It had a good rally earlier on this year, where it saw growth of around 14x. It then subsided and is currently starting to see some more volatility entering the market again. In recent weeks, is currently up around 143%. This, in my opinion, it's been in a good accumulation zone. I will be looking to accumulate again. If we get down to 0.02 cents, that would be a good accumulation zone for me, and I'd be looking to sell it for around 13x at around 3 cents. On to the next one, Ajax Singularity Net, hoping to be the world's largest decentralized AI marketplace for various different AI tools. This is one of the most well-known about crypto projects in the AI ecosystem, and it has a very passionate community of people around it, which is something very positive. It's currently the largest marketplace and also allows anyone to utilize AI products that are already being made available. This is very cool because anyone can go in who's non-technical and use these products to help improve this performance of their websites or whatever else that they are using. They have excellent partnerships with the likes of Hanson Robotics, who are behind Sophia, the AI that you may have seen in various YouTube videos, who's considered to be pretty much one of the most advanced, if not the most advanced AI robot going. Their aim is to create an environment where each and everyone has access to some of the best technology going in the AI space, and their passion is truly rooted in AI rather than just trying to make money like a lot of other crypto projects out there. This is a good thing as an investor who's just interested in perhaps making some money, by getting on board with highly passionate teams of people out there obsessed with trying to build a project for the future. Now, at the moment, they're in a quite competitive space, particularly with non-blockchain-based AI companies that are trying to do similar things. This is an interesting point, whether or not many of these crypto projects that are linked with blockchain really need to exist, but I think SingularityNet is having enough of an impact in that area to really answer the question. I think given where it is in the space, they're collaborating with some of the biggest names in crypto, such as Cardano and many others, and I think we'll have a very strong run in the next bull market. With the market cap sat at $222 million, it's still pretty high. However, we did earlier on this year see a very big push up towards 6.7 cents. Since then, we've managed to pull back into this zone around 73%, which for me is a positive theme because now we are into a buy zone. Look at what happened last time we were in this area of interest. The price shot up very aggressively, going up around 250% in literally 3 or 4 days. This for me gives me a good opportunity to be able to get in. If they're able to break through and get into where they think they're going to go in the future, then I think you can see a spectacular push in the price of AGIX. A conservative estimate would be somewhere around $1, which would push them to a market cap of around $1 billion. However, I think that in a full-blown bull market where AI could be a very, very strong narrative indeed, it wouldn't shock me at all being able to offer something like a 20 to maybe even a 30x if things go to plan, and that could be a very exciting run for us. With an upward price target somewhere around the $5.50 region. On to Fetch AI, which is an open access, decentralized machine learning network. Build, deploy, monetize AI services. This is very key. Lots of projects and businesses out there would love to be able to implement AI services, and this, for me, is the way we are heading. However, because AI is a very modern and specific technology, it does require some pretty advanced developers to come in and use it. Fetch AI basically makes this available to different companies and organizations, enabling them to be able to deploy these onto the network much more easily. They've got some excellent partnerships already established with the likes of Oxford University and Cambridge University, as do many of these other AI projects have relationships with universities. There's a very big reason for that. It's because it's a very, very new technology. It's still heavily under research, and the future of AI is obviously hanging in the balance with a number of different things. Something else that's also very important is a lot of these AI projects are more speculative based on something that maybe people have not considered. AI, as we know, is a very new thing, and you've probably seen lots of people talking about AI and whether or not it's a moral thing at all. And this means that potentially in the future, you could have government starting to assess whether or not AI needs to be regulated. As we know with crypto, regulation has always been an important and big thing and is starting to creep in all the time. If AI starts to be regulated heavily, what is the impact that could potentially have on these crypto projects? Who knows? Something that's worth considering in the future. Fetch AI currently sits with a market cap of around $184 million. Again, not a small token, and one of the most well known about within the AI ecosystem. Looking into the price chart, you can see that Fetch AI has been around for quite some time, spanning back all the way to around 2019, a bull market where it launched, went down into various accumulation phases, and then subsequently blew up into a bull market. As you can see right now, we have had a very aggressive move earlier on this year where we saw it booming around 6x, then having a subsequent pullback of around 60%. This puts it in quite a nice position, having gone into yet another accumulation phase. As we can see right now, from this accumulation phase, a pump back towards this level will be 159%. And this is why I'm so keen on these AI projects right now, is that they have the ability to decouple from the wider cryptocurrency market, and they are in what is basically an accumulation phase right now. This would also mean that a pushback to all-time highs would be an area of around 4x for Fetch AI. Remember, the market cap sits there currently just under $200 million. In the past, it's achieved nearly $1 billion market cap. I think a push to around $4 or $5 billion is potentially on the cards, which would offer a 20 to 30x, somewhere in the region of $5 to $7, and obviously we'll have to see how things play out into the future. Now, before I look at the one I think is going to offer us the best return on investment, we're going to jump across to Render Network, which is a very popular token and is rising in popularity all the time. Distributed GP rendering on the blockchain. Rendering effectively is used by graphic artists, video games, and all sorts of other things like that. If you imagine a flight simulator having to create this environment as the plane flies across mountains and everything else, rendering is basically how everything around it comes to life. It requires an enormous amount of computing power, and this is provided by Render Network through a blockchain. This is very exciting because it means that no one has to sit around with enormous computer systems, which are extremely expensive, and basically sit around doing nothing most of the time. It uses all of this computing power and provides it to whoever is needing it at any time through a kind of a pay-as-you-go system. This is very, very cool, and something that many people are very excited about because there's no real competitors within this environment, particularly as we move towards virtual reality and the development of games and things like that. Particularly in the GameFi space, we can see Render Token or Render Network having a very exciting future ahead of it. There are currently some existing issues that some people have brought attention to. Whilst you can see some members of the team, the whole team is not really that transparent. It's not so easy to see what they're all about, which does obviously cause a little uncertainty within the wider community. But the market cap currently sat just under $600 million, so one of our more expensive projects today. We can see the project having pulled back aggressively and currently sat around 78% below previous highs. Now, what's important to note is earlier on this year, Render Network saw an explosion in price where it rallied 586% and is already seen highs this year of 770%. This shows that it's starting to gain some traction in a fairly quiet and boring market that we've been sat in for a while, and we have recently bounced out of this buy zone. Now, personally, I will not be looking to accumulate Render in this particular price zone because I do anticipate that we could see a further fall back into this area, and I will be setting an alert in here at around $1.3 to $1.4 where I'll be looking to DCA in. If we get lower down, then I'll be happy to DCA in anything under $1 because I think it would be a really good value buy. Now, again, this is highly speculative because crypto in general is highly speculative. Going forward into the future, you never know how many people are going to come in, how much the community is going to gain steam, but Render Network is one of the tokens out there that is already doing what it's talking about. It's already providing these services, although it is in a competitive space outside of crypto where it sees competition with various other cloud rendering services. So it's kind of difficult to know exactly, although because of how much it's capturing the imagination of people within the community right now, I do see a fairly chunky move coming towards the upside. But remember, it's sat at 600 million. So for it to do a 10x, you're looking at a $6 billion market cap, which is pretty big. But I do think a $10 billion market cap could be in the cards for Render Token. Somewhere around the $24 here, you could see a 13x for Render. Now, you may think, oh, 13x is nothing. I hear all these prices all the time. But I want you to think about your risk versus reward whenever we're talking about these different tokens. There are coins out there that obviously offer a potential for like a 300, 400x, okay? But they also offer the potential for a massive L, okay? So we have to be very cautious. A 10 to 15x is something that we should be aiming for in pretty much all cryptos. It's a ridiculous return on investment that you would have never heard about a few years ago, and something that we should be aiming for in most cryptocurrencies. And then you can use some of the gains that we get for other speculative assets down the line. On to the final cryptocurrency today, and one that I have my main focus on, and that is Numerai. Numerai is building a decentralized network of data scientists in order to run tournaments to predict the stock market. Now, this is something incredibly interesting for me, particularly as someone who's been involved in trading and trading stocks and crypto for many years now. This is something that I've always thought must be already kind of implemented, and I think within Forex markets, there is some form of AI already creating algorithms and running trading. Now, it'll be very interesting to see how this project develops into the future, but basically it's going to be a hedge fund run by data scientists who are using AI to predict future markets. This, if successful, could be incredibly important going into the future. You can see it's already paid out $23.2 million to data scientists around the world, and you can see this is basically how it's all working, okay? Each ID corresponds to a specific time, and then each of the scientists are going in, building their prediction tools, then running them through Numerai. This is going to be used by hedge funds, which, as I'm sure you're aware, make up a huge amount of kind of global GDP. Numerai has the potential to come in and disrupt that industry. It is very narrowly focused, which for me is a bit of a con for the project, but it has a real use case. There's not many other projects out there that are doing something similar to this, which is something I like. It captures the imagination of the community. At the moment, it has a small community. It's already been in operation for around 7 years for the hedge fund, and yet many people have never even heard of it. And this gets me very excited, because these AI projects are much older than perhaps other crypto projects that are at this market cap scale, and that's because of the level of advancement within the technology that is required in these particular projects compared to some other crypto projects that have just kind of hatched out of the ground in the last 6 months and are suddenly kind of exploding towards the upside. Currently sat there with a $78.4 million market cap, which is pretty small by crypto standards. It's available in a ton of different marketplaces, so it's well set for the next bull market. Over time, it's seen a fairly kind of jumpy move around, and that's very indicative of a small market cap coin running through a bear market. And yes, you do see these kind of like aggressive pumps and then drops towards the downside where everyone's like, oh, it's a pump and dump. Yes, there are people who are going in potentially and manipulating small market cap coins, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this project can't survive in the future. As you can see right now, we are in a very nice buy zone, and there's nothing to stop you putting yourself a sell limit order for like a 2x or a 3x. And if we do get a spike towards the upside, then it will cash you out for 100% return before returning back down towards these levels. But in my opinion, we do see a very good growth potential for this into the future. I do think that this is a coin that could potentially see a 50x, maybe even more, given the marketplace it's in, given the narrative. I do think it's a very exciting one. If we see a boom in AI cryptos, this one, along with Deep Brain Chain, will be two of my favorite picks. I'm not saying to go and bet the farm on these guys. I'm saying that these are speculative assets. And in my opinion, of course, because this is just speculation, this is not financial advice. Go away and do your own research into these projects. I'm betting on the narrative of AI. And these are 5 projects with a good spread across AI. They're unique. They do something that no other project out there is really doing. And I think that they all offer potential for good returns. Today's video is sponsored by Grape, the first Web3 infrastructure for a decentralized internet. Now, Grape allows for over 700,000 transactions per second and is not a blockchain, but it works in a similar way to both Casper and HBAR. It's a very exciting project that combines AI with a traditional blockchain system, allowing for easy implementation by non-skilled developers onto various use cases. Now, this is very cool because it has been originally identified that it would work towards things such as GameFi and the metaverse due to its ability to handle enormous amounts of transactions. And you can see the services that they're already going to be implementing here: authentication, smart contracts, DCS, marketplaces, and launchpads. Now, they can handle this insane number of transactions and potentially maybe an infinite amount, given the unique way in which they distribute the transactions over various different nodes out there. Now, this website itself has a huge amount of detail on here, guys, and I recommend coming across and checking it out for yourself if you are interested in picking up tokens after you've done your research, of course, because obviously crypto is risky. Make sure you use that link down below in the description because you'll get 10% additional tokens by buying through that link. Now, it's currently available for pre-sale, somewhere around $46 per token. However, at the moment, it's on Bitmart Exchange as well, and it's currently priced way above that. What that means for the actual launch, in my opinion, could potentially drag the price up, but who knows, it could potentially be detrimental as well. Obviously, it's up to you to do your own research and understand where we're going with this. There's a hugely detailed light paper and tech paper available here, and I highly recommend that you check out this project because yes, they're sponsoring videos, which you may see as a negative thing, but I'm also aware that they have had a huge amount of press around that's built up a very excited and passionate community before it's even launched. And this for me is something that's worth paying attention to. So use that link down below if you want to get extra tokens. But I take no responsibility, guys. Do your own research. It's up to you to understand whether or not this is a good investment for you. I hope you enjoyed that video today. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, you want to learn more about crypto, subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.